Hey guys, this is Rachel from Cypress Textiles, and I'm going to show you how to make the Pluto hexagon from the 2022 VVCAL. I'm going to go ahead and start. I do have a slip knot already made, so I'm just going to put that on my hook. And of course, I'm going to chain 3 and slip stitch in the 3rd chain from the hook to make a ring. Of course, as always, you can magic circle or you can chain more than 3. That's just my preference there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead with a beginning 2 DC cluster. So go straight into the center with a single crochet and then chain 1 and then make a double crochet. And that's going to be your first 2 DC cluster of the round. Chain 2 and make a regular 2 DC cluster. So that's just yarn over and insert your hook, pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, and repeat that. All right, 2 loops on the hook. And so you've got 3 loops now for your 2 DC cluster. Draw the yarn through all 3 loops and you're finished there. So that's going to be our repeat. Just do chain 2, 2 DC cluster until you have 6 2 DC clusters and 6 chain spaces, and that includes your beginning one here. So I'll show you how that looks whenever I'm done. So here's how we look with the 6 2 DC clusters and the 6 chain spaces. I'm just going to close my round by inserting my hook through these 2 loops of the first full double crochet, and then I'm going to slip stitch there, and that way this first 2 DC cluster looks just like the rest. All right, so for my next round, I'm just going to start with a 2 treble cluster this time. So the beginning 2 treble cluster of the round is going to start with a beginning treble. So just go straight in with the single crochet and then chain 2. And now just make a regular treble. And so those 2 together are going to be your first 2 treble cluster. Now chain 2 and make a regular 2 treble cluster. So I've yarned over twice, insert your hook into the chain space and draw the yarn through 2 loops in the hook twice. Yarn over twice again, back into the chain space, pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook twice, and now you've got your 3 loops. Draw the yarn through all 3 loops and your 2 treble cluster is done. Chain 2, and a trick with these is, I've talked about it before, but some people say, like, if they make their 2 treble cluster, I'm just going to show you the way that they'll say that they've made it, right? So you've made your 2 treble cluster and you have like this big gap. And I know you can like already see what's happened, but like I'll finish it out. Okay, and then you have like, I guess you can't really see it here, but sometimes it's really noticeable where this top part has like a super big gap. So you can see that it's like loose at the top here compared to the other one. So how you can get a handle on that is just by making sure when you yarn over twice that you're closer to the like the beginning of the hook. And that way you don't have as much yarn involved so that it's more cinched up. All right, so that's just a trick for making any stitch taller than a double crochet, is just whenever you make all those yarn overs, you just got to pull it all close to the top of the hook right here. Okay, so that's all in that first chain space. And so these have chain 2 in between, but now I'm just going to chain 1. And now we're going to move to the next chain space. So just do 2 treble cluster, chain 2, 2 treble cluster, chain 2, and another 2 treble cluster, all in the same chain space. And so that one is done. And now chain 1, and that's going to be your repeat. Just keep going all the way around until you get back to the beginning. All right, so I'm finished with the round, and I did just go ahead and count and make sure that I have 3 2 treble clusters in each chain space, because I will miss stuff like that very easily. So I have 1 chain on the hook here, and I'm ready to join. And of course, just go through these front 2 pieces of the full treble, the first full treble. All right, and then slip stitch. All right, so now your beginning of your round is kind of hidden. And now for the next round, you're gonna start by jumping into a beginning popcorn. So just go straight into a single crochet, chain 1. That's beginning DC there. And then make 3 irregular DC in the same chain space. And then you're going to release the loop from the hook, insert front to back through the chain of the beginning DC, grab the loop and pull it through to the front to close the popcorn. Chain 3, go in the next chain space with just a regular popcorn. So 4 double crochets and release the loop, insert the hook front to back through the first DC of the 4 and pull the loop to the front, chain 3 again. All right, and then now we're going to work into the chain 1 space with just a single crochet. Okay, if I can, chain 3. And now we're ready to go into the next chain space with a regular popcorn. So you're gonna see the repeat emerge in just a moment, but I'm just gonna make this regular popcorn really quick. And chain 3. I'm already into the repeat, but I'm just gonna make my other popcorn real quick, and then you can kind of see how the petals are looking, so-called petals. Okay, popcorn, chain 3, and single crochet in the chain 1 space. All right, so now you can kind of see that this is what the repeat is going to look like all the way around. And I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, here we go. And this is how it looks when the round is done. I'm just gonna join to the first little beginning popcorn here. And for popcorn, I like to join in the chain space of the, well, in the chain, directly in the chain of the beginning double crochet. And I feel like that puts me in a spot where it's kind of like, makes it look like the rest of the popcorns. So now we're gonna work into this chain space here, and I'm gonna go straight into a beginning double crochet. So single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And this round is just all about 2 DC clusters. So yeah, if I didn't say that before, this is the beginning 2 DC cluster. Now chain 3 and make 2 DC cluster in the same chain space. This round is probably gonna drive you nuts. I'm just letting you know. You have to work into all 18 chain spaces with 2 DC clusters, and you're gonna feel like it's taking forever. But the good thing is this motif only has 5 rounds. So beginning 2 DC cluster, chain 3, 2 DC cluster, all in the same chain space, and chain 2. All right, now into the next chain space, 2 DC cluster, chain 3, 2 DC cluster, chain 2. Okay, you guessed it. Next chain space, 2 DC cluster, chain 3, 2 DC cluster, chain 2. This is going to be what you're going to chant all the way around. 2 DC cluster, chain 3, 2 DC cluster, chain 2. All right, so we're getting off to a good start here. Now I'm just going to push pause and finish the round, and I'll be back in about 30 years. Okay, finally finished with that one. So I'm ready to join. And just like before, it looks a little wobbly. It's gonna get better on the next round, I promise. All right, so join with a slip stitch in that first the first full double crochet of the 2DC cluster, right? Okay, so now we're gonna make our very last round, and we're gonna do 5 single crochet in this first chain space. And where you have 2 popcorns right next to each other, that's your corner. So 5 single crochet in the first chain space. Oop. Hello. All right, 5. Okay, and now we're gonna do 1 single crochet in the chain 2 space, 3 in the chain 3 space here, 1 single crochet in the chain 2 space again, and 3 single crochet in the next chain space, and 1 single crochet in the chain 2 space. And then we're at our next corner, so just 5 single crochet. And I'm gonna go over that again just so I can kind of slow it down. All right, so 5 single crochet in the first chain space, then 1 single here in the chain 2, 3 singles in the chain 3, 1 single in the chain 2, 3 singles in the chain 3, 1 single in the chain 2, and that's our repeat. And then 5 singles in the next corner. All right, so you're just gonna continue that way all the way around. And I'm not even gonna hit pause because I have one that's finished, right? So you can see that it is wobbly here, but our joining round is gonna start with a round of singles. So it's just gonna shore everything right up. And so I felt like it was fine, and it definitely cinches it up from the previous round. I do like how it looks lacy, and when you kind of like pull it to open it up, it just looks really nice, and it still matches the same size as the other hexies in the VVCAL. So this has been the Pluto motif, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.